I have bilateral, moderate to severe, bone conductive hearing loss. So it's a mouthful. My bones in my ear did not develop correctly. So I have a bone disease, and it's called osteogenesis imperfecta. So that means that sounds for me are very quiet, but they're also very muffled. And I do have a hearing aid, but it's not a perfect solution. I can hear some speech, but I still prefer signing. That way I can have full communication access. I guess starting when I wake up, my alarm clock goes off. Most people have an audio alarm clock, and I have a vibrating alarm clock. And some people think that is scary, and I feel like an earthquake, but I'm used to it. And then I guess next, just same as anybody else, I have my coffee. There's Starbucks in my dorm. And sometimes I use my voice, but I find it a lot easier to use my phone and just show the barista what my order is through my phone. Next, I do homework, I go to class. I do have an interpreter in class. I have the online classes and face-to-face classes, so in both situations I would have an interpreter. Most of my day is really just like anybody else's day. I think that I do have some struggles that other people may not have, but I mean, I'm used to it. Everyone has struggles. Well, at first it was difficult. And I think that, the audio would be blurry with tech issues in class and losing connection. But I think now I kind of understand how it works and what's going on. I think that UT has really given us great service for deaf and hard of hearing students, and I'm really just so thankful for the interpreters here. Without the interpreters and that access, I would not be able to access my classes. With COVID, it's been a little bit different. Before, it was easier to request interpreters, but now I have to request way ahead of time, 3 days ahead of time. And sometimes if I request it maybe a day or two ahead of time, I can't have an interpreter at all. Well, most of my classes are online, but I have one class that's in person, and it's actually my favorite class. It's Perspectives on Deafness, and I love it, love it, love it. I love that class. I love learning about my culture, but I grew up not having access to my language, to my culture. So seeing deaf adults, deaf professionals, teaching about deaf culture, that has been awesome. And just face-to-face with deaf teachers that can communicate directly and can get the message directly to me in sign language, that has been just amazing. I wish that UT had more deaf spaces, more deaf organizations, but for now, I do have the National Deaf Center. Well, I know that there are other deaf students, but we don't see them every day, and I see hearing students every day. But I think that just having that relationship with people that are similar to you, that's so important for anyone. And I wish that they had more, not just deaf organizations, but maybe ESL clubs or anything like that, really. Just spaces where I can sign, I can share my culture, I can socialize with just other people who we can understand each other. I think that I wish that I had had a person to guide me, and I wish that someone had told me, you will be okay. You know, you will be fine. You will succeed. You need to make some changes. And you need some things maybe that other people don't need, but that's okay. You have to allow yourself to have those things. And I think I wanted, to become some person for someone else. And I know so many other deaf people struggle with their identity as well, especially deaf people who grew up in a hearing family. And, hard of hearing people or late deafened people. And I just want to support my community. And also, sometimes my disability, my physical disability, I talk about that on my Instagram. I always get positive support and positive comments. And yeah, there is a disability. There's a physical disability, of course. You can see I'm in a wheelchair here. But I think that my deafness is not my disability. If I have the right support, if I have the right access, I can succeed, just like any other student.